Hello, everybody. My name is Beatrice Gonzalez, and I am a spiritual investigator here to deliver the news of what the FBI knows. So let's get down to business and talk about it. So, the FBI, the FBI, DEA is investigating fraud, fraud with individuals who were all working together with home health aid agencies, temples, churches, pedophiles that were dressed in business suits, government officials who were utilizing the services of the poor because services of the poor are the people who are disadvantaged, abandoned, who have no families to take care of them. Children and adults where medical records were altered by corrupt doctors were utilizing this service for the poor to take advantage of children and elderly people. See, the FBI and the DEA, Homeland Security, is investigating fraud because individuals were abusing children and adults. Let me tell you how sick and disturbing this is. People were taken away, removed from their families with fraudulent evidence, fraudulent medical records that were altered by doctors who was working together with organized crime. This is organized crime with corrupt judges, corrupt cops, corrupt district attorneys. These were all individuals that were cashing out on the services for the poor. They were altering medical records, creating a court case where they were all able to steal together. They were stealing from the fraud that they were all committing together in court with illegal court proceedings. Children were placed into foster homes with fraudulent guardianships, fraudulent conservatorships, fraudulent power of attorney. They were falsifying people's medical records, lying together so that they can cheat, steal together. And this is why there is a major takedown, fraud takedown, because everything is being seen. See, people right now had collected way before these individuals knew that they were under investigation. People were already wired, undercovers, double agents. They knew that the fraud was there, that all of these individuals were working together. This is why RICO charges are coming for a lot of people, because this is organized crime. This is more than 10 people. So, because this is more than 10 people, these individuals are all guilty of fraud. And this is why all of the evidence and information was collected to prove that a whole city was participating with fraud. See, when you have the whole entire city participating in fraud, working with doctors who was falsifying medical records, using the government's funds, Medicaid and Medicare, so that these individuals can receive a payout. A lot of people were receiving a paycheck. But what's even more disturbing is that corrupt government officials who have eyes for children utilize this program so that the children can go into homes where they were being molested, and the abuse that the children and the elderly were receiving at the hands of their abusers. See, all of these abusers were people who belonged to a church, temples. These were people that were hiding behind the church. They were walking around as if they were holy, clean cut, upright. But they were all doing it for a check. Meanwhile, the doctors were falsifying medical records on children with medical illnesses that they didn't have. But the doctor was putting the medical illness on paper, making children take medication that they do not need. But the corrupt family, the church member who was prancing around as if they were holy, were the real criminals behind fraud. See, all of these individuals have been getting away with fraud for a very long time. And now there is a major takedown in fraud. Not only were they getting away with this for so many years, networking with one another, working with the corrupt courthouse, working with corrupt police department, working with corrupt medical doctors. They were working with community members who were all on board with this corruption, with this fraud, because not only were they cashing out, receiving a paycheck every 2 weeks from the government for taking care of healthy children who doctors had placed a false medical condition on the child so that that person can receive a check and a disability check because they made the child out to be disabled. So see, this is why FBI, DEA agents are going through everything, because they know that this group are trying to omit medical records, change everything that they did. But it's too late for that, because the FBI has records, the original records. See, when you were under investigation, you didn't know the double agents, the government spies that was among you, because they already knew that all of y'all were under investigation and that fraud was being conducted within that city. So, since they knew that people were cashing out on services for people who were healthy, who were diagnosed by a corrupt doctor who placed a fraudulent medical illness on a healthy patient, that was enough for the feds to move on in and watch everybody who was connected to fraud. That's why they have evidence. People were wired. They collected enough evidence to come on in and do a fraud takedown. Now, everything is going to fall like dominoes, because everybody who had their hands all involved with fraud is going down. And those individuals are going to be exposed to the media. Everybody's going to see all of the corrupt government officials, corrupt judges, corrupt doctors, corrupt attorneys, lawyers, district attorneys, corrupt police officers that were all participants for this fraud. See, they never thought for a second that a higher agency was going to investigate all of them. They thought that their criminal activity was airtight. They never thought that a higher agency was going to see the citywide participation of individuals that was all a part of this scam, because this is a scam. This is defrauding the government. This is defrauding the government for millions, probably billions of dollars through Medicaid and Medicare, falsifying medical records, using the courthouse to utilize the courthouse to get inheritance, false power of attorney, false guardianship, false conservatorship, false power of attorney. So when you use and you work, you network, because all of these individuals, they're Masons and Eastern Stars. This is how they were able to pull this fraud, the biggest fraud in all time history in the United States. They were networking with each other. But what's even more insane, this is even more crazy, and most people are going to hate all of these individuals for what they've done, because they placed children into foster care. They charged adults who was being abused by the person who was caring for them. They were constantly being attacked violently. The children and the elderly were constantly being attacked through violence. That when elderly people had defended themselves, because they had every right to defend themselves against the aggressor. These were people who were handicapped, disabled, people with medical issues. They were attacked. And when they defended themselves, they were criminally charged. See, this is what the FBI is investigating. Those that were criminally charged, put away because they had defended themselves from their attackers. Those that were getting paid to take care of them. Children being molested. The FBI has evidence, information of children locked up in basements where they were molested. This is why this whole entire takedown with fraud, how people were getting gifted with inheritance, because this is exactly what they did to me. They took my inheritance. They have no receipts to prove that they gave me any money. They lied about my medical condition. They said that I had a mental illness. I don't have any mental illness, but this is what they said. So, see, this is going to hit worldwide what they did to me and my family. The doctors, the lawyers, the judge, the district attorney, the corrupt detective, everybody. Because, see, when they stole my identity, they used my identity in different locations for different things. They cashed out. They said that I had a disability. I don't have a disability, but that's what they said. This is why. This is the biggest fraud takedown, because they know that they have been falsifying documents in court, holding illegal court proceedings, one-sided court cases, lying, rewriting a person's history. So when you network with professionals, see, these are all professionals with PhDs. So they know exactly the law. They know how to craft up in a very sophisticated way to pull fraud without getting caught, without being investigated. The reason why is because they always thought that they were going to remain under the radar, that nobody was going to pick up the fraud and all of the participants that were working together, networking together, because the feds know DEA know. Homeland Security knows that these are the Mason and the Eastern Stars that have been committing fraud. They've been committing fraud working together with community members. They know how they were allowing these individuals, home health aid agencies were all a part of this fraud. So there's going to be many home health agencies that are going to get locked up. The owners of these agencies, they're going to get locked up, as well as doctors are going to get locked up for falsifying medical records. Doctors, lawyers, they're going to be disbarred, they're going to be arrested because they wrote up fraudulent contracts, illegal contracts that they made legal to spy and monitor individuals, violating their rights. This is sick and this is twisted. But these individuals, these pedophiles that have been walking around in business suits, going to church every Sunday, had utilized this service that is for the poor to exploit the American people. See, this is what they did. They utilized this service and turned it into a cash cow so that they can fill their pockets with blood money. This is all fraud money. They attach inheritance to your name, and then they divide it with each other behind your back. That's why they don't have proof or receipts to prove that they gave me any money, because they gave me nothing. So they know they're in hot water because they falsified medical records to utilize a corrupt judge and a lawyer who lied and said that I was handicapped, I was disabled, I could not care for myself, I could not think for myself. So, see, all of these individuals are in trouble because they took this service and utilized it for the people who they target to take down. But the problem was that they weren't able to take me down. I exposed all of them and brought a lot of attention and heat towards everybody because I have every right to defend myself and my family. So, of course, I did the right thing. Whether you like it or not, that is your problem. But I am fighting for what you did to me and the millions of other American people that you did this to. So now they're being investigated. The feds is watching all of them. They know exactly how they network with each other. They know that they're trying to omit medical records, change records, medical records, because they know that they have been caught out there. But that won't be possible because, as I stated, when you were under investigation, you didn't know. And nobody knew. And that is why they have copies of the original. And of course, many people who jump ship have already given information because they know that this is not a small case. People are going to be receiving several felonies because, see, the corruption and the fraud is so bad among this group that it is going to be a felony for each thing that they're guilty of: identity theft, insurance fraud, Medicaid, Medicare fraud, employment fraud, bank fraud, placing fraudulent life insurance policies on the people who you had targeted, inventing medical illnesses to healthy children and adults. See, you're caught out there. You know that you're going to be doing heavy time because, as I stated, you're not just going to be charged with one felony. You're going to be charged with several felonies because defamation of character, alteration of documents, videos, text messages. Oh, it's deep. IP addresses. See, the hacking, illegal spying, fraudulent contracts, all of the justifications that you use to violate a person. And the list goes on. RICO charges, because this is more than one, this is more than 10 individuals. This is organized crime. And that's why all of them are about to go to prison. And they know it's all over. This is why a lot of people jump ship, because they know they're going to prison. And anything to lessen the time, they're going to do it. So these were individuals that were connected to each other. They were the best of friends. They knew each other. They were operating together. So now a lot of people have disconnected themselves. Of course, since they were operating, committing this fraud together, there's a lot of dead bodies. So people are given information from the past cases. See, your background, history, your assets, and everything that you have, and how you received your inheritance, how you falsified documents, forged documents, how people got on the stand and lied and committed perjury, lying under oath. So, see, all of these things is exactly why so many people are going to be going to prison and are going to be receiving more than one felony. So, let me give you the rest of the information. So, children and elderly people, this is crazy how government officials corrupt judges, law enforcement, lawyers. How could they take advantage of people, innocent families, falsify documents for children to go into homes, foster care, where they're being abused by pedophiles? They know that in this group there are pedophiles, people who was utilizing this service to take advantage of children, people who have eyes for children, who lust after kids. This is sick. This is disturbing. This is the most craziest, insane thing that another human being could do to an innocent child. This is pathetic, but thank God that the government is investigating all of this fraud, because they know that in this group there is people who are disturbed, who don't care for human life, for a child, for an elderly person. And they're all hiding behind temples and churches, acting as if they're upright people, but they're all dressed in suits in suits, and they're pedophiles taking advantage of children. This is why all of this is being investigated. This is child pornography. This is child trafficking. This is child exploitation. And then when the children and the people, the elderly, defends themselves, you turn around and then you charge. You charge the elderly person who is defending themselves as if they're the criminal. This is why they are looking into everything. Child Protective Services, who went to court and lied. They were told what to say, what to do in court. They were a part with trafficking children through the justice system, with fraudulent medical records, healthy children who were placed into foster care. This is exactly what they did. They lied about my daughter's medical condition. They fabricated, they made it up. It was all done behind our back with a illegal court proceeding. Everything was done, a one-sided court case. This is why this immense amount of fraud is being investigated, because when you have professionals with PhDs sitting in positions of power with titles, working with healthcare providers, lawyers who have been able to pull off this fraud, working together, and then working with street gangsters to take the innocent person's life so that you can cash out on a life insurance policy. You were successful with all of those other individuals that you took out, but you weren't successful with me. See, you underestimated me. You didn't think that I was going to figure all of y'all out and then turn around, expose y'all, report all of y'all, so that the whole entire United States can see the corruption, the illegal criminal activity, and how all of y'all have been networking together to pull off fraud. This is why you have expensive cars, expensive homes. You go on lavish vacations because everything that you received was through blood money, fraud committed in court by sacrificing innocent families that you believed, you thought you were going to be able to get rid of with everybody together. But you hit a wall when you came after me because you didn't know, you underestimated me. You didn't think that I was going to stand up, defend myself, and defend the millions of other American people that you did this to. Now you are running scared because you know that you don't have the proper documentation to prove everything that you did. You don't have the receipts to prove that you gave me inheritance money that was from my father. Now you are in a lot of trouble, and everybody who participated with this crime. So this is why the government is investigating all of y'all, because the government is shutting this criminal activity, this citywide investigation where all of these fraudsters working with corrupt government officials, corrupt cops, corrupt judges, corrupt district attorneys, corrupt lawyers, corrupt doctors, who all of y'all thought that y'all were untouchable, invisible, that you were always going to get away with this illegal criminal activity, cashing out, sacrificing the American people. Think again. You're about to be behind bars because You are the criminal. You are the enemy of the United States. That's why the FBI has evidence, because people already have started talking about all of the illegal activity that all of y'all are responsible for many deaths. And that is exactly why unidentified bodies connected to life insurance policies, to inheritance, to wills, to trust funds, to marriage certificates, to death certificates, everything that you have been utilizing to cash out on blood money is why the government is breathing down all of y'all necks. Because y'all been getting away with it for a very long time. But justice is coming for all of us, for the millions of American people who you've targeted and utilized in court for fraud. And the government knows that you've been doing it, working with corrupt doctors who've been altering medical records, utilizing it to place people in foster care where children were being exploited. People know the truth about what you've been doing because the United States of America, the government, knows everything that you've been doing. So they know that corrupt government officials turned this service for the poor as a business opportunity for them to commit fraud, because this is the way they have been enriching their lives, committing fraud. This was open business for them, for pedophiles, child molesters, all of these abusers who were receiving a check, a government check. These people were getting paid to abuse elderly people, to abuse children. This is why this is a huge, major fraud takedown, because so many people were involved in this. Home health aid agencies, this is child protective services, this was Medicaid, Medicare, this was the courthouse, this was lawyers putting fraudulent contracts on individuals, people who were participating to lie against innocent families were receiving inheritance, lawyers giving fraudulent power of attorney to individuals who were participating, signing the rights away to the individual that was targeted behind their back. They were doing all of this. This was like a bank. The courthouse was like a bank for them to cash out on inheritance, probate court, because they were all on board. You can't make something like this successful unless everybody's on board, agreeing to lie, to steal, cheat, falsify documents, text messages, altering voice recordings. See, all of it is going to come out the way you were doing it, how you were putting it all together. You were using text messages, voice recordings, videos. You had used copycats. See, this is not only my case, this is everybody else's case that they had committed fraud. How they all did this together. They all worked together, staged it together, and they received a payout for it. See, that's why they're all in hot water. They know that they're going to get arrested. They're going to prison because I never received no money. They took my daughter away from me. They worked with a corrupt sheriff who lied. See, they didn't think that I was going to make it this far. They never thought I was going to make it this far to expose them, because they had stalkers, they had people trying to red run me, but I outdid everybody and I exposed everybody. So now they know that they are in a lot of trouble. They know that they're in a lot of trouble because of what they did. All of the evidence points right back at them. FBI, DEA agents knows that these individuals are all secretly watching me. They watch me because they're all guilty. Nobody in the right state of mind who is not guilty will be watching me, keeping tabs to all of the information that I'm putting out to the American people, to the public. That only a person who watches me is because they're guilty. That's why the feds know that this group here are all panicking, because they know that they're guilty for what they did. They committed fraud. They removed my daughter from me, and they know they're about to go to prison. So, but when I make these videos because not only was this done to me, but so many helpless families were taken advantage. Families who probably didn't have the bravery, the strength to expose this group. They knew something was wrong, but they were outnumbered. But see, they, you, and they, you got away with what you did to them. But you know that you can't do that with me, because I love what I do. I love the work that I do. I love to stand up and fight for my right, but I also love to defend and help others who were taken advantage of. Because, see, what you did was the most despicable, lowest act, criminal. There's no words to explain, to express what you did to me and countless millions of American people. What you did was despicable, the most evilest thing to do against an innocent family. But I will always, because I know this is going to hit the media, all of these individuals are going to be arrested. Justice is coming. But I will do this for the rest of my life. I will always help others who have been taken advantage of, who have been exploited, because this is exploitation against people who they believed they could outnumber, because since they network with each other, they were bullies. They bully people, and they work with different groups of people to bully them. But see, you bullied the wrong one. Now that there is a major fraud takedown, now justice is coming for all of us who you thought you were the big bad wolf. Think again now. because now you're going to have to face the consequences to all of your evil acts against humanity. And many people are going to receive justice. That's 100%. It's coming. So that's why I said, get ready for the news coverage because so much is going to be exposed. As I said, there were pedophiles in business suits, government officials who took advantage of this service for the poor and exploited innocent families for pedophilia, for child molestation, for child pornography, child exploitation, life insurance payouts, gifted inheritance, fraudulent power of attorney, fraudulent guardianships, fraudulent conservatorships, fraudulent medical records. See, everything was fraud so that you can enrich yourself with fraud money. Now, your game has been exposed and all of y'all are going down. But you did it to yourself. And when you did what you did, you never thought that this day was going to come where you, your state, was going to have a magnifying glass all over the entire city. I have more information. So the FBI, DEA agents are looking into everyone's past history with children and elderly, including child protective services who were instructed what to say, what to do on each court case with fraudulent medical records, with healthy children and adults. This is pathetic. This is crazy. They also have information that's these child protective services, a lot of them were paid off. They were gifted, they were paid off. This is all going to come out to the media. Everything is going to be exposed. So they know that you're trying to get rid of medical records, but it's not going to be possible because the feds, they have the original medical records. So basically, it is the same creation that what you created, the fraudulent medical records, everything that you utilized in court, everything that is registered in court is going to be pulled out. It's going to be used. So omitting the records, you're not going to be able to get away with it because the truth has been exposed. Everything. Your whole entire game has been exposed. How you've been doing it. How you were making court cases go your way by defaming the person's character, working with individuals that were all lying together. The feds even know that people were writing up text messages and then sending it to themselves, staging as if they were the person on the other side. They know exactly how you were doing it to stage fraudulent conversations against the targeted individual so that you could paint the person in a negative way so that you could get a court case to go a certain way. See, all of it, the text messages, the stage videos, the recorded voice recordings, everything, so that you could portray the person in a certain way, as if that person had given consent to the fraud that you created. Now, that same evidence that you had created, made up, fabricated, is all going to be under a magnifying glass for it to be reviewed. This is how you catch the people who commit fraud, because they created it. This is why the feds know that you're trying to get rid of information, because you've been caught out there. See, this is what happens when they know that they're all in trouble. Now they want to start throwing away cell phones, getting rid of text messages, taking statement back, because they know that they don't have the real proof that everything that they had created was fabricated, made up, created together. And they know that the actual evidence, once it's reviewed, they're going to see that it's fraud. So now they want to start getting rid of information. But that's not going to be possible, because they see everything. They know. So now you're caught out there. You know that you committed fraud. And you know that you were networking with each other. And you know that you abused your power. You abused your position. You know that you utilize your position, your title, so that you can steal, cheat, and lie and kill. Because that's why you put a life insurance policy on me and my children, because that was the motive. You wanted to take us all out so that you could get a huge life insurance payout, but you weren't successful. So now all of y'all are going down. Oh, yeah, you're going down. So this is pathetic how they work with individuals, people hiding in temples, churches, portraying themselves as if they're upright, but they have their hands all involved in this criminal activity, receiving checks, and they're abusing children and elderly people. This is pathetic. This is crazy. They this they need to write up new laws so that this can never, ever, ever happen in the United States ever again. The laws have to be strict. They have to double check everything, not a couple of times, at least 10, 20 times, for identity theft, the way they have been pulling this off. This is situation is so serious. How people who have been cashing out, utilizing government services so that they can make money, fraudulent money, targeting innocent families and cashing out on life insurance policy, inheritance, trust funds, wills. They were all utilizing the person's information to make money. This is organized crime. This situation is so severe with the fraud and how they were pulling it off in court, working with the with corrupt law enforcement, writing fraudulent police reports on people. They never thought that this was going to come back and haunt them, but it's here now. These individuals are all going to have to pay for what they've done, not only to me, but countless other families that they done this to. This is why the feds is looking into all of their past history background, because these individuals were so cocky and confident and thought that they were going to get away with their illegal criminal activity, that now they're all under investigation. Now, everything that they have, that they own, that they got was all through fraud. Everything that they have is through fraud. And this is why there's a citywide investigation. So I'm going to end this video, and I want to thank all of the upright government officials who have been working very hard to expose organized crime, fraud. Laws, new laws are going to be coming in, and it's going to change everything in the courthouse, law enforcement, social service, Medicaid, Medicare. There's going to be stricter laws that are going to come in and change everything, because what was done against many innocent people, with individuals who didn't want to get up and work and receive free money from the government by utilizing a service for people to exploit innocent families, pedophiles, child molesters, elderly abuse. This is crazy. And then criminally charge elderly people who were defending themselves from their abusers. That's insane. Of course, the government is investigating all of this. That's crazy. The person who needs to be in prison is the person who was getting paid to take care of the person. And this is insane. But that's why stricter laws are going to come in, and it's going to change everything, because this is unjust. But I thank God. I thank God because many upright government officials have done much to expose everything. So I would like to thank FBI, CIA, DEA, ICE, Homeland Security, Department of Justice, law enforcement, government officials, government spies, double agents, undercovers, community members, all working together to expose organized crime. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do to protect this beautiful country of ours, for protecting the American people, for every family in the United States. Thank you for protecting all of us. Your hard work is appreciated by all of us. Thank you. Now I'd like to say a little prayer. Aravat, Aravat, the great I am, Jeshua, Mother Mary, Archangel Michael, Mars Sector 6, Master Aetherius, Galactic Federation of Light, Commander Ashtar, Commander Valiant Thor, thank you for everything that you do, for watching all of us, for protecting us, for guiding us, and for bringing organized crime down to its knees. All of the drug traffickers, sex traffickers, child trafficking, weapon trafficking, all illegal criminal activity, to shut organized crime down, fraud, everything, everything that was done against innocent American families. Thank you for exposing all of these fraudsters, all of the people who are corrupt, who are all going to be plastered onto the news for the whole entire world to see, this citywide investigation. Thank you for all that you do. So be it, and so it is. Thank you, everybody, for all those who are working together in union to protect our beautiful country, the United States. God bless you, your family. God bless our beautiful country, and God bless our president, Mr. Trump, and his family. Take care, everybody. Have a nice night.